This is what true champions look like, but winning LAN is next on the to-do list. Can they secure it?
Let's give it up for Chap and Teeny, one of the newer powerhouse duos coming out of EU who have proven to be so consistent this entire year.
It's Rise, it's Yuma, top players of the Asia region now here on the global stage and ready to prove to the world that they're also top players in this lobby.
Ping and Locks, ladies and gentlemen, now looking to walk into battle with their heads high and they're fully focused. They aren't here to let anyone down. Let's see how far they can go now.
From the land down under to Nath and Tinka, OCE is in the building, everybody, and winning Major 2 was just the warm-up run.
It's none other than Quanti and Cone. The best of both worlds coming together now from Brazil and NA, and now they're ready to test their true strength. Let's send them some energy.
Bienvenido, Clone and Kramsu! The KPI boys moved to the Middle East for Major 3, but they didn't just take part, they took over.
It's double trouble. We got Reet and Ritual. One of our favorites are now officially in the building, and they are here to see what they can do on the global stage.
Straight out of Germany, it's Reason and Badil. The big stage is not a problem for these two, as they are the definition of confidence.
Batman, Booga, and Rapid are in the building. What a year these guys have had, and now they're trying to see if they can finish it off in style. These are definitely one of the teams that can go all the way. That was just our first 20 duos, man. We still have 30 more to go. Let's take a moment here. Zeke, breathe. Okay. I wanted to highlight a duo here for you. Chap and Teeny. Little fun fact here. This is Chap's first time on LAN. And to go like, first time LAN. Oh, global championship. The biggest stage possible in Fortnite. Yeah, let's go.
A lot of people are excited to watch this duo play. I mean, even just disregarding how they have performed over the last two chapters, having that Teeny strat in his back pocket, especially with what we've been seeing going down over the west side of Underworld, where they're kind of contested, getting dropped on. I think a Teeny strat might be coming out over the next 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it, Zeke. Chap's first global championships. It was also his first grand finals only in Major 2 of this year. That major, they placed second. Major number 3 also qualified. They also placed second. So it seems like Chap is just immune to any pressure. And here today, I'm interested to see what are they going to do. You know, is Chap able to handle the pressure? He's done very well at that so far. And as you mentioned, Kelly, the big question mark, where are these guys going to land?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. They could land a different spot every single game. We have seen that before. It's not something we're strangers to, but I think for Teeny and Chap, they're going to be looking at maybe what they know best, maybe drop spots they've landed at before. That's why I think Cooper might be a little bit concerned that they might be landing over towards that Nitro ground.
Terrifying stuff. And as we go from one Booga, we must talk about the other, Batman Booga specifically, and Rapid. I mean, they just had an unbelievable performance in Major 3.
I mean, going all the way back to Global Championships last year, where they have only played together for one major, and then going into their globals for the first time on LAN and getting 14th place really put a lot of eyes on them. Now, the start of this year, not the best, but the evolution that we have seen, Minnie, is just incredible. These are two of my favorite players competing here today.
Yeah, I mean, when they came 14th in the globals, they were even triple contested as well. So it just adds to the skill and the ability of these guys. I mean, they're absolutely incredible. They actually moved from sort of high ping at the beginning of the year to low ping to 0 ping, and it's worked wonders for them. They've been able to get unleashed all of their talent. That is just going crazy right now. I'm interested to see what they're going to do off spawn, though. Of course, landing at Grimgate, they have all of those dashes there as well. Interested to see if they can use those in the end game, maybe save them a little bit. Are they contested? Are they not? We're not too sure. It says uncontested right now, but of course things can change.
Yeah, I was chatting with them just a little bit, and they think that there might be an OCE team potentially landing on them. But again, that drop map can only tell us so much. It's really the first game where we'll find out.
And what do they have to do, right? If that does happen, you know, they're going in with a strategy where we're uncontested. Suddenly, there's another duo here. What do we do?
I mean, it's Batman, Booga, and Rapid. They're going to be able to handle it so well. They already did really well being contested at the Globals last year. They are incredible duos. And honestly, regardless of what situation they're in, they always come out on top. And watching them on the end game where they typically stick to the low and middle ground, but they're so observant. They're able to tell when the high ground is theirs to take. They are so strong. It almost looked like they could potentially win in Major 3, getting second place. But of course, when Peter Von Pollo is there, it's hard to really break through those guys.
Yeah, really hard. I mean, even that major number 3, they placed second. They only played 11 games in that major, which just makes it even more impressive. These guys are so good.
That's right. Fortnite fam, I think you guys want to meet some more players, right? So make some noise for the next 10 duos.
Let's hear it for Swizzy and Yapko. Coming together for this event, this duo is on a mission to impress the world. They've got the skill, but can they make it happen?
Here comes the pride of Middle East, Adapter and FKS, some of the most dominant ME
Ouais,
duels of all
je
time.
suis
And
là.
it's actually not their first land, but it might just be their first trophy.
Donc là, on va regarder les
It's
contests.
Trulix and Chicho making their return to the global stage, only this time they are in it to win it. Last year they placed third, and now it's time for first.
Let's give it up for Kei Shoro and Keiki. The Brazilian stars are coming onto the global stage for their first time in their careers, and it's time to lock in for real now.
Big welcome to Chiefs and Chris coming together for this event, but these guys mean business. Both have proven themselves worthy, but now
Je suis là, les gars. Je suis là.
Put your hands together for Huddy and Kovacs. Everyone loves a good underdog story, and these guys have shown up on the last EU major. The real question is, can they find that momentum?
Coming in hot, it's going to be Dukes and Sphinx. Championship material right here, but this weekend is not going to be easy for anybody.
All the way from Japan, it's Bobby and Larpex. This duo has managed to pull together so many top placements, and now they are here to lock it in for the region.
Oui, je sais, tu étais à l'hôpital, je sais, Sera.
Ladies
Merci.
and gentlemen, because FNC as champions is a title that's already been secured. So next in line, gotta be for global.
It's your boys, Acorn and Cold! Some of the absolute best to ever do it from the NA region, and now they are looking to get a trophy of their own.
Qui va gagner, vous pensez? Qui va gagner?
You guys feel that?
Oh, le trophée!
That cold front in the arena suddenly? I mean, come on, man. That's the first 30. If we just started, right? We just said like, hey, launch that battle bus, let's get in the game. I'd be like, yeah, no, this is a Global Championship lobby. There's still 20 duos to discuss. Really quick though, Acorn and Cold, I mean, these guys are just so crazy consistent.
I mean, it hasn't just been a good year for them, it's been a good 2 years for them. They
Ça
have
va,
not
bah
placed
écoute,
below 6 over
moi
the
ça va
last 6
nickel. J'ai
majors.
fait une crise
In the
cardiaque.
Global
Oh putain.
Championships last year, they claimed 7th place.
Oh
Yeah,
frérot,
and that
bah
was even
t'inquiète,
while
c'est
splitting a
un.
drop spot in the middle of the map there as well. So that just makes things even more impressive. That's actually quite reflective of what their off-spawn situation is today. Landing down there at Brutal Beachhead with Andalex and Sato. It's going to be interesting how the off-spawn battle goes. I feel like Andalex and Sato might dip out in some of the games. They might try and split the drop. I don't think Acorn and Cole want that. They want to try and claim as much of that loot as possible.
Right.
And I think because Cold is just so good, even if they don't get that much loot in mid-game, Acorn will just go like, oh, Cold, just go over there, eliminate those guys, get me that loot, and we can act like the off-spawn didn't even happen. So I think that's going to be a key element to their success.
Yeah, there's a reason that people say that Cold is one of the best players in the world, and by winning the Global Championship today, he would solidify that spot, joined by Acorn, who is one of the best IGLs in the world. This duo is here. They want to do better than last year. They don't want that 7th place. They want that trophy.
That's right. Now on the topic of consistency, let's bounce back on over to OCE, Aspect and Kazi as well. Representation, these guys are looking to kick off the competition with a bang.
second, third, and first over the last 3 majors, respectively. One of the most consistent duos that we have seen all year. And of course, their drop spot is a bit of a question mark.
Yeah, but what's really impressive about those 3 majors is they landed at a different drop spot in every single one of them. So you mentioned second, third, first. They did that from a different drop spot every single time. Now this weekend, they've marked the raft, right? I don't know if they're going to be landing there. So many people have asked questions. Are they really going to be landing there? Nobody really knows where exactly they're going to be landing. It's a bit of an enigma at the moment. We don't know. But I think this is a team that can cope under the pressure of a new drop spot. We've seen it throughout this whole year, and they've been by far the dominant team on OCE. So let's see if they can bring this here.
If you had to pick a spot, where do you think they might go? Are we just saying, like, if it was Raft's like pretty safe, or you're like, you might have somewhere else in mind?
I think, due to some rumors, that they might be landing over in Grim Gate, a very powerful POI that is currently uncontested by Batman, Booga, and Rapid. But the raft is huge. It has a lot of loot. There is
Les gars, il y a Booga. Il y a Booga.
Maybe not.
I mean, we'll see. I think if I was them, it would be looking at teams that maybe haven't performed that
Perso,
well.
moi je suis pour Booga, les gars.
Trying to land on them, taking advantage of that. One of those teams, Cammy and Seti, haven't had the best year off spawn at that Cammy split area. Currently, they are uncontested as well, so maybe that could be an avenue that they could discuss or
Il y a seulement Booga, Mr. Savage et Mongrel, ils sont pas là.
Maybe they could do a whole teeny thing as well and just land all over the map in different games. Who knows?
Guys, got me hyped right now. I'm also hyped, though, to bring in our next 10 duos. Let's bring them out.
Everybody watch out because it's Queasy and Thomas HD. Some of the best to ever touch the game, but they lack a trophy in the collection, so now's their chance to change that.
Put your hands together for Kyoto and Xmi Poli. They have been one of those consistent duos coming out of the Asian region this year, and now they're looking to bring that energy to this stage.
Big welcome to Shadow and Virgo, ready to put their abilities to the test this weekend because these guys are not here to go home empty-handed.
It's Gears and Shari, everyone, just making it across the line in Major 3. Now they're here to lock it in and make up for that because they will be hungry.
Un jour, je serai là, moi. Ah, Booga est déjà rentré. Ah, d'accord. Bon, ils ont de sales têtes, c'est une dinguerie.
And here's Agers and Rise. Experience is often the key at these types of events, and these guys do not lack it at all. They have to put in work this weekend to see how far it can take them.
Give it up for Janice and Pixie. This is what you get from mixing experience and talent.
Non, t'inquiète, Axel.
Together for Major 3 paid off big time, and now they're prepared to take it all the way.
Coming in hot is Ed and Persa. Always on top.
On connaît personne, frérot, on connaît personne.
And now they even took that championship at Major 2. Can they get another?
Ces mecs-là, ils étaient pas là il y a 1 an, 2 ans. Chaque année, c'est des nouveaux. Gaimo. Il n'y a aucun ancien. Oh, Peterbot! Sale cheater, va! Peterbot, jamais il va gagner. Jamais il va gagner. Lâche la banane! Trophée là.
Man, I don't know how much more my heart can take. We've got another 10 duos here, but let's take a moment to talk about these 10 that came out. We wanted to highlight Asia here, specifically Kyoto and Mapoli. These guys are widely regarded as the best team in Asia, and now everyone else is looking to have to deal with them. How are we doing that?
I mean, we were looking at Aspect and Cassie just a few minutes ago, and literally the same placements over the 3 majors, second in Major 1, third in Major 2, and first place champion title in Major 3. And honestly, I am so excited to watch this duo. They have been competing in Fortnite for a very long time, a police since 2019 Winter Royale.
Yeah, These guys have been by far the best Asia team this year. They've been so consistent. I'm interested to see what they're going to do today. They're landing at the north side of the map by that sort of island area. I think what we've seen from some of the Asia scrims as well is what we think is going to happen. They're going to land on that mainland area, try and third party that Rebels Roost fight, get some early Storm Surge damage, and then play the game out as they like to. And the way that they like to is very low ground heavy, very consistent, not crazy amount of eliminations in mid game, but in end game, that's where they thrive. So I'm expecting lots of consistency from these guys. I'm expecting lots of end games.
Okay. What's this? I got my notes here. It just says Queasy, Thomas, HD. They're pretty good. They're pretty all right.
Yeah, a lot of people would say really good. I mean, Queasy getting second place in the Invitational with Venno way back when. And then, of course,
Right.
Thomas HD, the best to never win a title, literally missing out on first place by 1 point.
I mean, and that was 2 years in a row as well. Major one this year, missed out by 1 point. Major one last year, another point. So it's so unfortunate.
Yo, Xerox.
This could be a really good opportunity for them. They're finally uncontested. I feel like Thomas is always contested when it comes to lands, and it's really troublesome for him. But I'm interested to see what they can do. They're landing at the north, the south side of the map, the sort of southeast area, that small building just to the east of the map. I'm interested to see what they can do because Thomas HD is just so good with that pistol. I was speaking to him. He was saying, "Yeah, we're going to be carrying one of those pistols," and I was like, "Yeah, mate, I hope you're carrying that pistol because that's your job in this duo." But no, I'm really excited because these guys have all that LAN experience already.
Parce qu'il y a déjà eu des vidéos et de ça qui ont été trouvées.
Well, we've only got one thing left to do, and that is introduce the 10 remaining duos to Dickies Arena. Y'all better make some noise!
It's time to get loud because Biko and Blixie are here. After displaying their dominance in EU Major 3, now they're ready to keep that momentum going and add a trophy to the collection.
Let's take a look at Asia's powerhouse, Zaku and Sharom. It isn't easy being on top, and consistency will be key for this duo to make their regions proud.
Bryce and Bolt are in the house. These guys are not new to the global stage, but the question now is how far can they make it together?
They are back! Malabuka and Mustache coming back together as a duo this year, and taking home an FNCS championship was huge for their region.
All the way from ME, it's Cal and Haman. These guys have been at the top of their region for several seasons, so the confidence is there, but it's showtime
Ils ont
now
vraiment
on
de
the
sales
global
têtes,
stage.
hein.
Let's welcome Paper and Victor V! Winning the region's hearts in Major 3 and making it all the way to the biggest stage of the world is not a simple feat, and now it's showtime!
It's the Kings of South America, King and Baser.
Oh, King.
They started the year in EU, but Brazil called them home, and now they're here at the Global Championship, ready to
Il
pop
était là,
off.
première Coupe du Monde au
You
Cup
know who this
2019.
is! It's Kanata and Cooper! An absolutely lethal duo! We can't see what the reigning champion can do!
Polska Funa, Cammy and Seti. Your
Ouais, ça se voit, ils sont
FNCS
fatigués, ça se voit.
Invitational champions are in the building. With a second place last year, now it's time for redemption. Second is not an option.
But wait, let's give it up for
Clicks.
This is what happens when you combine the best
Oh,
of
y'a
NA
Clicks.
and EU. This is a powerhouse team.
Aïe, aïe,
They have
aïe,
one thing
aïe,
on their mind, and that's success.
Putain, Clix, frérot, il va tous les démonter, hein, frérot.
Dickies Arena, I mean, come on! This is who we'll be seeing compete. These are 50 of the best duos in the world.
Pour de la qualité, les
Are
gars,
you
il est
not
dégueulasse.
entertained?
Pour moi, et pour vous, mais...
Let's go!
My gosh, to hear the crowd just lose it for these
Venno
last 10
aussi,
duos.
ouais,
One in
ouais.
particular stood out to me. Malabuka and Mustache, you guys went crazy
Hey,
for
tout le
them.
monde parle de
These
Bouga,
guys,
c'est
I
une
mean,
dinguerie,
to see
frère.
them come out and to see them compete on
Bouga,
stage.
c'est le favori,
I'm
hein.
worried, not for them, but for everybody else.
I mean, one of the longest lasting duos. We've seen them compete together since Chapter 2, and then they did break up for Chapter 4, but they knew that they were the duo to be together. Right. Bringing it back together in Chapter 5, and then getting that first place in Major 1.
Yeah, it's so good for these guys. They've had a really solid year overall.
Attends, j'ai envie de voir Bouga, moi.
It's kind of gone under the radar a little bit because they are so good. I'm expecting big things from this duo.
Je veux trop voir
Speaking
Bouga.
to Mustache as well, of course, they're landing at that restored reels there. I said,
Pour moi, le favori,
Mustache,
c'est
you're a little
Bouga
bit
et Clix.
concerned about being contested. He said, I feel like we're better off being contested by Alex and Worthy there at restored reels. I feel like they feel like they can finish the fight quickly. They can get those Storm Surge tags early. And then when it comes to late game, they've kind of evolved their strategy a lot compared to that Chapter 3 Malabukra Mustache that we saw. That sort of season, that sort of chapter, they were going for loads of
Bouga, c'est un putain de monstre.
going for loads of eliminations in the end game. It seems like they've toned that down a little bit. I mean, in fact, they're actually doing half the amount of pre-edits in end game as they were all the way back in Chapter 3. So it seems like they're playing a little bit more calmly, a little bit more carefully, but of course, if they make it off spawn, they need to make the games count.
That is kind of crazy. Something else is crazy. What was it, Zeke? Invitational champions Cammy and Seti looking to make a return to this stage. I mean, if we got an invitational little title, we got a global championship title, that'd be kind of insane.
I mean, they're already regarded as the land goats.
Yep.
As you said, winning the Invitational, getting second place at the Global Championships last year. And although they may not have had the best major last major, this season is looking so good for them.
Absolutely.
They love the low mobility meta. They have an incredible drop spot on the middle of the map. Everything is kind of working in their favor, Minnie.
Yeah, it's a really, really nice meta for them. It's a really nice situation for them. As I said earlier, as I hinted at, my only slight concern for them is if someone decides to land on them off spawn. They haven't necessarily had the best time off spawn. They had a good Major 3. It was third in that, or Major 2, I should say, third in that major. But in the other majors, they haven't quite had the same success. They've only won 20% of their off spawn fights in those two majors. So intrigued as to what's going to happen there. I don't know if they're going to get contested. We're not too sure yet, but please do not count these guys out, because when it comes to the big stage, when it comes to the bright lights, when it comes to in-person events and low mobility metas, these guys always have some great strats cooking. So no matter what they've done this year, throw that out the window. It's time. Their time is now.
And we've already seen them evolve over this season. We know them to be low ground kings, but over the Cash Cups, they actually won 2 victory royales from the high ground. It just shows how diverse this duo is, how prepared they are, and I'm wondering if they can do it again.
Okay, and we kind of got to look there at Seti. You can tell the nerves are starting to set in for some of these players, right? You can always say, like, yeah, I don't have nerves when I go into this, but when you have this crowd roaring, when you're under these circumstances,
ouais, ils ont l'air crevés, c'est narré.
How do you guys feel like these players are doing? Some of them, obviously, they look locked in, they're ready to go. They're enjoying the crowd, but they're thinking, I've got to win.
Tournament jitters are a real thing. You'll see players that are very comfortable in their own home, playing on their own setup, and here they are in a foreign setting around a bunch of people. Nerves can definitely play a part into it, but there is so much opportunity for these duos to learn over day 1, and then with that 1.5 for day 2, they can really evolve and kind of get more comfortable with the setting that they're in. Yeah,
and it's going to be interesting to see, because I think around a third of our players competing today are actually making their first international LAN appearance. So it's going to be interesting to see how those guys do, how they handle the pressure. I mean, the camera was just on Cammy and Seti right there. They seem very chill. Seti, I thought, was asleep for a second there. Thankfully, he isn't. He's awake and ready to go, which is great. But it seems like they're very chill about the situation. They've done it before. They've won it. They had second at the last Global Championships. They've been around the block. They know how to handle the pressure. It's all about how they can transfer that into the game. How can they use that little bit of an advantage that they have over the rest of the lobby that maybe hasn't had the same success, that maybe hasn't had the same experience as these guys, to really elevate their game and set them apart from the rest.
I wanted to circle back. You had kind of talked about the meta a little bit. Now, obviously, being back on a Marvel season, we've seen the meta shift a little bit away from just like massive Storm Surge towers, DMR shots to kind of get Surge. What can viewers at home kind of expect to see with what's in game currently?
Well, with this low mobility meta, we're definitely going to be seeing some Storm Surge towers as well, because with low mobility, you can't really rotate too quickly, obviously. No. Although there is the flaming hoops, we still have Fizz and everything. There is opportunities for players to rotate. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of players alive towards the Zone 3, and we're probably going to see some major Storm Surge.
Yeah, I mean, these are always stacked. These in-person events, these LAN events, they are always stacked. So Storm Surge is going to be so important for these teams. Getting enough damage, making sure that you're keeping on top of it early on, because, yeah, there's so much stress and so much nerves that can come from being in this in-person environment. You can't forget the fundamentals. You can't forget to make sure you hit your shots, getting those thermal scopes on those burst assault rifles, making sure you can get there. And then when it comes to mobility, I think it's those underworld dashes. They're going to be crucial this weekend. I think teams that are landing either at a player that's in that area or even nearby, they might just dip their toes in, get those into the end game, because that's literally the only useful mobility in the end game that can set you apart from the rest. So teams around there, I expect to do well in end game.
There's also certain teams that are around those static launch pads, like Queasy and Thomas. Although they are all the way over on that southeastern side, they do have that launch pad there that will allow them to rotate, as well as the flaming hoop. So there's certain duos that definitely do have a lot more environmental mobility around them that they can use to their advantage. But obviously, where the zone pulls is going to play a major factor in how these teams rotate.
Okay, and you bring up Queasy and Thomas. We kind of touched on them a little bit. I want to circle back. So we bring together two Titans. You know, they've had so much experience separate, and now we bring them together. What does that look like on this global stage, right? Like, are they where they need to be to look and say, look, this is it. This is our year. We're going to walk away global champions?
I think so. Honestly, I think that they've had a lot of practice. Queasy has already proven himself on the land setting, getting second place, so close to first. And of course, I love that moment. Queasy Vino dropping on Cammy and Seti. Really, a lot of people still regard that as one of the best FNCS land moments to date. And I think that it is possible that we see Queasy bring out another strat like that. They do not want to get second place again.
Yeah, they really don't. And Thomas is still looking for that FNCS title. And I kind of wanted to pick his brains a little bit. I said to him, does that affect you? Does that sort of linger and be like, oh, you know, I still haven't won FNCS. It's been so long. I've played for this amount of time. And he said, no, I don't really look at the performances, my past history like that. I look at every single FNCS. I take it as it comes and try and do the best that we can, which I really like. And that shows the experience of the players, right? They've been playing for so long. They've even played together all the way back in the days in squads and stuff like that. So they're no strangers to each other in this environment. So this is going to be a very experienced duo to look out for, and a very experienced duo that seem to put themselves in the right position at all times. Queasy's really, really good at that. He's one of those players that is, of course, going to be taking the more IGL role here, taking the lead in this duo and making sure they're in a good situation. We haven't seen them play height too much, so I mean, you know, a lot of people are saying, like, you know, Queasy is the height king. It's been a little bit 50-50 for these guys. We've seen them trying to go up for it, so you might think of Queasy and think, yeah, they're going to be going up on height every single game. I don't think we're going to expect to see that, but they have it in their back pocket if they need it.
Sorry, just to bring out even more numbers, not only has Thomas been missed out on first place by just a single point, he's gotten second place 3 times and then third place 4 times.
Wow.
I mean, when you're talking about consistency, there's a reason that Thomas HD is considered one of the best aimers in the game. But he's aiming for that first place now.
Yeah, it's interesting that you kind of like, he thinks about it, right? Because it's easy to look at those numbers and go, well, you've never won. So like, but no, you're so unbelievably consistent that literally season to season, you are adapting and almost punching up, right? You know, look at Peterbot and Poyo, they're just coming out saying, we're just dropping 1,000 points. No big deal in a season, but for someone like Thomas HD with that experience, that's crazy to think about.
I mean, if you want to talk about world records, Queasy and Vino getting 6 victory royales out of 12 last year. I mean, these guys just pull out these crazy strats, are able to pull out crazy plays, and I want to see it on the big stage this weekend. I know that it's going to be probably a little slow for game 1, but we know a lot of these players aren't sharing everything with us because they have some strats in their back pocket.
Yeah, that seems to be the common theme when we're trying to talk to players. Like, oh, so what are you going to be doing and when that team contests you? What are you going to be rotating? They're like, you think I'm going to tell you? Like, you really think I'm going to tell you? And I can't get anything out of them. So that's what's so impressive and what's so interesting about these LAN events is everyone's in the same lobby. You know, we get to see how teams, you know, we do our VOD review, we do our preparation. The other teams will do that as well. We get to see them in their own home environment, but we haven't seen this lobby ever, right? So it's going to be so interesting to see how they mesh together and how some of the fights go down early on and later on.
Yeah, that's a really scary thought, right? Because even think, we've had a number of practice games leading into this, right? And some of these duos have said, even in those situations, I'm not going to reveal anything, right? Someone like Bugha has been like, well, I could play, or I could just kind of keep everything in the back pocket. You will get nothing from me.
Yeah, watching these scrims and not having Bugha's name in it has been a little bit, not concerning necessarily, although I do think practice makes perfect, getting any kind of practice in before the competition. But it's Bugha, it's World Cup Bugha. I'm sure whatever he has prepared is better than what I can think of.
I mean, I'll tell you who was looking good, though, in the practice scrims was Acorn and Cold. I think they had like 16 eliminations in one of the games. They weren't backing down. They wanted to fight every single person. And just even, you know, maybe they're not bringing out the strats that they're going to use. Maybe they're not bringing out those rotations. Just their ability to sort of fight with each other, have that synergy. You could see glimpses of that in the practice games yesterday. So it seems like they're on top form. I'm excited to see what those guys can do as well.
But is that a bit of like painting a target on your back, right? If you're willing to go out that far and just go like, hey, we're willing to take the fight, dude, we're kind of willing to show you who we are. Think of someone like Peterbot, right? Just so confident, just willing to say like, hey, wherever you are, if you want to come contest us, we'll be right here. So feel free to roll on over. That could work against any of these duos.
I mean, it's great that we were just talking about Acorn and Cold and potentially contesting Peterbot and Pollo, because they did try that in the Grand Gate era and immediately left because Peterbot and Pollo absolutely dominated the competition. And I mean, this duo right here, Peterbot and Pollo, there is a reason that they have just been so consistent. They have conditioned the lobby, like we said.
Yep.
There was a moment during Major 2 where they were splitting height by zone 10. I don't even understand how that's possible, how you can hold height from 2 different positions, just beaming down the rest of the lobby below. No one was even looking up. I think players, though, are going to be looking up today.
Yeah, I mean, statistically, they've held height for the longest amount of time out of any duo this chapter, so I expect to see those guys up on height. And to your point, Zeke, about how their confidence goes into this, I think they feed off of that so much. I think Peterbot has that aura about him where he wants to feel like he is the best player in this lobby. Nobody comes close. And I think the way that he talks about himself, the way he carries himself, I think really aids his gameplay. You can see that when he's walking out. He's just like, yeah, I belong here. I belong on the big stage. We've had second, first this year. This is our time. And I think that just plays into it. Some people will crumble under that pressure, but Peterbot's got so much experience now at winning. I think he believes in himself, and having that undisputed, undeniable belief in yourself is so vital when you get to this big stage.
Okay, you kind of said something that piqued my interest. We're talking about high ground, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's people that are tuning in, they're like, okay, you've said high ground, I don't know what that means. High ground, low ground. Maybe break this down a little bit for us, because I don't know, like you guys that follow, you know, there's a lot of high ground teams. And there's only one high ground. So how can we expect that to kind of unfold, especially like if we're all looking at high ground going, okay, are you going up, I'm going up, and then we're all thinking the same thing. We're looking for that perfect time.
Well, obviously, by having the high ground, you just have such better angles, better visuals of the rest of the lobby. And there's a lot of that goes into kind of controlling high ground. Some teams take it a little too early. They use those mats. And then when they see these high ground teams kind of switch to wood builds, well, that's when teams are going to try and chop them out, try and steal high ground from them. So it's almost a little risky to take high ground a little too early because you're going to use those mats. But with it being a low mobility meta, stealing height is going to be a lot harder. Yeah, it is. And I think that's where those underworld dashes are really going to come into play. Pop a Fizz, get the underworld dashes, save them to the end game. I think teams that land in that sort of area can definitely take height. And as you mentioned, it's a low, no mobility meta, so a structured height take is more what I expect to see here. When we have mobility in the game, we had various different mobility across the last few seasons and chapters. You can literally just look up, say, I don't think they're too confident up there. Let's just dash our way up, and we're on height. So I think now we're going to see teams like Cami and Seti that have taken height in the past, previously known as a low ground team, then sort of evolve their play style to take height when they need to. They're very structured at that. They're very good at it. They know how to get to that front side of zone and then make sure that they can claim height. So it's not necessarily you're going to be a high ground team or a low ground team. For some of these teams like Cami and Seti, they have it all. Yeah, and speaking of teams that like to take height, Clix and Veno. Clix, when he was playing with Epic Whale and Epic Whale, he was taking high ground way too early, around zone 9, and then on like constantly getting chopped out. But joined by Veno, who has reined him in just a little bit. They did such a good job during Major 3, controlling high ground, especially in day 1. Okay, yeah, let's circle back. Clix and Veno, let's take a moment, right? Let's give them a moment to kind of talk about this duo. How are they performing? So you've touched on it a little bit. Can you maybe break down just a little more for me? What has Veno brought to Clix, right? We've seen Clix kind of pair up with a few different duos, and then obviously we had Queasy and Veno for so long. Yeah. And then you suddenly like, okay, wait, Veno, you're leaving EU to go compete on NA. You're already used to competing in EU, and now we're gonna change all of that up, and you're gonna go play with someone like Clix? Are you crazy? It's honestly, we've already talked about it, how well paired it is. It's honestly looking almost like a trio competition where you have the IGL, you have the Fragger, and then you have the support player. Yep. But you just mesh IGL and Fragger together, and that's Veno. And Clix plays the perfect support. Watching them play in Major 3 was like watching a dance. Constantly in Veno's shadow, Clix was ready to prepare for him. And watching some of these plays that they made in the end game, where Clix would shoot towards a box, the team would get distracted in one direction, and then Veno would quickly rotate into the back and 1v2 them. It was so exciting to watch them play. They had their strategy down to a pat, but even when a wrench was thrown into that, they were able to evolve, they were able to adjust, and I think even though they might potentially be contested here today, I don't think that's going to throw them off their game too much. Yeah, well, remember, Major number 3, their debut season, they were looking strong to win the entire Major. I think it was the last 3 games where things didn't quite go too well for them. I think for Veno, he didn't have a very good start in terms of EU's performance with Tayson. He, of course, played Major 1 and Major 2
Major 2 with Tayson. You imagine this is like a Titan duo. I mean, you can see on the screen right now, he is ready and raring to go. He's been in this situation before, but as I was saying, he was playing with Tayson, didn't quite work out. He's looking at other options in EU and thought, well, not really any players that sort of suit me here. This is not, I don't want to be going into Major 3 not 100% comfortable. And I think that's why we saw him move over to NA. And as I mentioned earlier, Clix is just the perfect teammate. At the beginning of their sort of journey together, things were a little bit rough. You know, maybe it was a little exaggerated, but you could tell that things weren't quite on the same page. But now though, when you watch them in endgame, the way they play through these tarps, the way they're hip to hip, as you mentioned, making little strategies, little plays in endgame, it's so good to watch. And they're really exciting team in endgame. When they're playing those mid-ground lanes, it's so good.
We also have to give a shout out to their coach. Blood Eggs has just done such a good job making sure that they are ready to go, making sure that they are focused, because they are pretty emotional players. When they start getting hype, they are on a tear, and then once they start going down, it's a little rough for them, but they have been able to work on that, evolve from that. And personally, I saw a lot of growth from Clix during Major 3, where Veno was down, he was feeling out, and Clix just kept building it up, saying, no, we got this, we're doing great. And Veno would kind of turn around a little bit and start smiling on stream, and you know Clix is locked in when he turns off his face cam and comms, and that's what we were seeing in the Cash Cup. You know that when he is starting to take away from his stream, that he is serious.
That's right. I love this breakdown from you guys. As we continue to prepare ourselves to kick off the competition, we actually wanted to check in with Adam and get his thoughts on the competition. Adam, it's crazy. I'm hyped. Are you?
I'm incredibly hyped. I mean, I've watched you guys do the walkouts. I mean, the players seem unbelievably up for this. I mean, the last couple of days, for you guys who don't know this, behind the scenes here, the players who have been in the player lounge this entire time have been obviously scrimming, getting together, competing against each other, and kind of testing the waters of what's going to be this incredible competition with 12 games over 2 days here. Personally, kind of sitting back and actually chatting to the players. It's a rare thing you get to do here at these in-person events. Obviously, you see them online all the time competing, and we kind of see their names on screen. But actually meet them in the flesh and having kind of conversations about like life in general, how things are, how they got to this place, is always really interesting to me. Kind of the aspirations of kind of what they hope to achieve here in the next season and the partnerships, and you get a real sense of the energy and the kind of like the relationship that the players have in their duos as well here, which is really exciting. Also really cool, which is happens in the player lounge here, you get to meet a lot of the family around the, kind of players as well here. Players from all over the world. You get to see their kind of their friends, their kind of like their closest, who have come to embrace this amazing experience. Obviously the audience, who I love you guys already, like we've known each other for 5 minutes and you're brilliant. The energy in that room is incredible, but to actually meet the kind of people who in their personal lives as well has been really special, and something really kind of, I always like kind of love learning about backstories and stuff as well here. But actually,
les gars, ça a déjà commencé ou pas?
Everyone was kind of grinding, kind of making the most of their time they actually have here to kind of practice ahead of what's going to be, 12 games, 6 games today, 6 games tomorrow. Don't forget as well, I'm sure that tonight after the first 6 games, there's VOD reviewing, going back, looking to see exactly how they can perfect their game, go into that second day where things are really going to count, courtesy of the elimination points and of course those standing points as well. For now though, I'm going to hand back to you guys. I'm going to kind of remain kind of cool, fresh and calm back here. It's very quiet right now and there's lots and lots and lots for me to going to do, courtesy of some basketball and some fun stuff behind me.
Did you say basketball? I'll be right there. Actually, I'll be there in a little bit. Guys, as we continue to
Non, je suis pas parti manger justement. Mon père il est en train de faire un barbecue là.
This is probably my personal favorite duo. Paper.
Ouais, c'est méga long par contre. C'est vraiment ça, c'est méga long.
Compete, and Victor V, I feel like University's won over everyone, right? To come out, to be paired up with someone like Paper, to just kind of take him under his wing and then say like, okay, Victor V, oh wow, you're just eliminating everything. You're going absolutely crazy. Sounds good.
You know, how I was kind of referencing them in Major 3, I was like, oh, Paper, this long-standing veteran, and Victor V.
Il a quel âge? Il a 12 ans.
And then I actually look back, and Victor V's been competing for quite a while at such a young age, and to perform at the level that he has is so impressive. And I mentioned one coach, I gotta mention another. Victor V's dad was an incredible coach. That little video that they released before the Global Championships, I am absolutely in love with this whole team of Paper and Victor V.
Yeah, they're like the brotherly duo, aren't they? Even when they were doing the walkout, sort of hopping over each other. That's so cool. I love them. I'm interested to see how they're going to do. Of course, they seem to be uncontested at the moment towards that central area of the map. Interested to see what happens there. And I was speaking to Victor the other day after their media day. I said, oh, how was the media day? Did you enjoy being on camera? He said, yeah, I was kind of a bit nervous. I was like, are you more nervous for that in the game? And he said, yeah, I'm more nervous for the media day questions and stuff than the actual game itself. So he's looking confident, feeling confident as well. And I like the dynamic that they have with each other. That helps so much, especially for someone like Victor, who is young, you know, he's new to this sort of in-person event. It's just going to help settle the nerves so much.
Graal aurait dû venir roi de fou, mais il a pas qualifié, c'est
When they
dommage.
do break up, they kind of tend to pick someone that's already been established, a veteran. And the question is, why aren't they picking these kind of young bloods? Why aren't they picking these like young WK Kings that can really evolve, especially if we have a very established IGL? And that's exactly what Paper did. He knew, he already read the strategy book, and picking a Victor V clearly worked out in his favor because here they are on the global stage.
Just wild. I mean, once again, we just want to continue to remind you guys just how much talent is on this stage, how many majors we've gone through, how many duos fought to the very end to try and make it here to compete on this stage. And now they're going to compete in front of all of you for a title to prove that they are the best. And now that we're kind of like mixing regions, it's not even just like, hey, which region is the best? No, it's just who's got the title and who doesn't.
I mean, I think when you talk about regions too, what's so exciting is that when these smaller regions really do pop off, we were already talking about Jerome and MK Papa, but I want to know who is going to be popping off today. Are we going to have one of these smaller regions really showing up the rest of NA and EU?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that was King and Phaser. I thought these guys were going to be the best of those smaller regions. Of course, so much experience on stage. Of course, they won major number 3 as well, so they seem to know how to play in their own region as well, as we already know. I think that was kind of a little bit of a question mark now. They might be contested by one of our teams. So they already had a really good drop spot. I'm intrigued as to how that off-spawn battle is going to go, because I don't think it's necessarily going to work in their favor at that particular middle of the map drop spot.
And speaking of other smaller regions as well, we already talked about Haman and Cal Gamer. But FKS and Adapter, that one team to take away that one win from them in Major 2. So another incredible duo here that might be showing up, although they are contested as well.
Yeah, they are. They're sort of like that mini Olympus area, just the north side of that. I'm intrigued about what they're going to do there. Whether one of those teams decides if they do win off spawn, maybe they go towards that north side of that Grand Glacier area. If the fight does take a little bit longer, maybe that could be a good opportunity if they get some Storm Surge as well. Even though static launch pads are nearby as well, they can get up on that hill, base up a little bit as well. So they have so many different options at their disposal. And I mean, Cal Gamer and his teammate as well. What a duo to talk about, because I love the way that Cal Gamer carries himself, right? He's one of those players who's just like...
Bon les gars, moi en attendant, je vais faire ma séance.
He never shows
Ça va?
any nerves, and you can see why. He is so good on Middle East. I believe he's got the highest amount of damage this entire chapter as well. So he is one of those players that can perform on LAN. It's all about what that off-spawn situation is going to do, because we saw it at the last Global Championships, contested in both the upper and the lower bracket, and they didn't make it to the grand final. So I'm hoping now they can hopefully fix a few of those off-spawn mistakes.
Okay, I want to circle back here. Booga of Thief. All right, let's talk about this guy for it. No, but yeah, you guys can cheer. It's okay. It's okay.
Allowed.
Yeah, Booga. I mean, dude, you know, when we think about Fortnite, if you're someone who's like never heard of Fortnite at all, but someone says Booga, you're like, yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah,
I know Booga is.
Putain, il est devenu moche.
I want to see this guy win a global championship title. To just have like every single title imaginable. Like,
Booga,
it
il est
just would
devenu
cement
moche,
him
frère.
forever, right? He's already regarded as like this incredible player. And when you have as many like accolades as him, like people would just, they would trade it all to even have like even half of those accolades.
And just how, you know, just how strictly people look at Booga, where if he's not getting first, then he's getting last. I don't understand how the community could ever say like, oh, Booga's washed, oh, he didn't win global championship.
I don't get it.
But then he gets the back-to-back wins between chapters 3 and 4, and then of course going for 3rd place in Major 1, 7th place in Major 3, and they did split up in Major 2, but obviously they felt some kind of synergy. They understood that this was the duo to make their ticket into the global championships.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out when they split duos. They, of course, came back together, and that's really, really difficult to do. When you're a team that has had a little bit of success before, split up, come back together, what are the vibes going to be like there, right? It's like, hang on a sec, you just dropped me, and now you're coming back to ask if we can play. So it's nice to see them still performing well. I genuinely think this is a really, really good chance of them getting a top 5, maybe even the win, depending on how the weekend goes, because their situation seems to just work out really nicely for them. I mentioned it earlier, they can go towards that east side, towards that castle. Lots of different teams, even to the north of the castle as well, that are going to be landing there. So So interested to see how they can sort of manage those early storm surge damage. And even if they do get a little bit of their loot stolen from that gas station to the south of their drop, I still don't think they're going to be in trouble. I still think this is a team that can pull it out of the bag. Much like Acorn and Cole, when it comes to the end game, they're still going to be looking stacked because they can find those eliminations.
Yeah, I mean, Bugha, an incredible IGL, and then Aviv grabbing all of those eliminations as well. And the loot, like you were talking about, the loot that they walk out of that POI is absolutely ridiculous. They are stacked by Zone 2, and no one wants to face them. Although, a cute little caveat for the moments that we got to see in the Cash Cups, where he saw Peterbot and Poyo. Bugha and Aviv were currently in first place after game number 5 from the recent with Cash Cups, but Peterbot and Poyo, you know that they want that win, the win before the Global Championships. And so they literally left the forecast tower, the only time that Clix and Veno got that forecast tower, and wanted to chase Bugha and Aviv. And Bugha and Aviv saw the token, saw that little glowing around them. They knew that that was where the coin was, and ran away. But again, it worked out in their favor because Bugha and Aviv came out on top.
Just crazy stuff, man. I am so hyped to start the competition. It is almost that time. Acorn and Cold, though, we have to mention these guys, right? We got a little taste of these duos. And I mean, we can't forget as well, Cold also walked away at EWC with a win, right alongside Ritual. So he's already got this confidence in him. You've got Acorn right there, ready to go. I mean, do we think these guys could go? Like, could they make that top 5? Could they win it all?
So before Major One, before they won, we asked the question, you know, as a fun little thing, who do we think is going to win the Global Championships? And I said Acorn and Cold way back when. I mean, after their run that they had last year, it was absolutely phenomenal. Getting 7th place in the Global Championships for 2023 just solidified their spot as two of the GOATs of Fortnite. And then they do it again, winning Major One once again this year. They just the way that they synergize together, the IGLing, the fragging, it is perfection.
Yeah, it is. I think it's all about that off-spawn battle for me down there at Brutal Beachhead. And Alex and Sato, these guys are not a bad team in any regard. I mean, they're here, so that says it all. I mean, Andalex being around the block, being a very, very experienced player over on EU. Sato more of an upcoming player, and he is really, really good as well. He's one of those players that lots of people have got their eyes on as some up-and-coming talent in the EU scene. And I think this is a team that, yeah, they're probably going to try and play a little bit slower off-spawn. They're not necessarily going to try and finish the fight too quickly. As I mentioned earlier, they might try and dip on out. I'm not too sure how splittable Brutal Beachhead is, so if both teams decide to try and stay, there might be a little bit of an engagement there, but I think both teams would be more than happy to kind of just dip out.
I think you're right. I think Sato's going to grab a few chests and dip.
Okay, all right, I like it. We just got word. We're gonna check out the Creator Lounge. We've got a little interview lined up with Blake in Somerset.
I told you guys earlier, the Creator Lounge was all about getting in contact with some of the influencers around Fortnite, and we're joined by the awesome Somerset and the awesome Blake. Thank you guys so much for joining us. First and foremost, how's the event so far?
It's been amazing. Meeting the fans, a surreal experience. I couldn't expect anything more.
And Blake?
It's been crazy. We walked in, we were literally getting swarmed, taking pictures for like an hour, trying to find this Creator Lounge. But I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited to see the event.
Blake, I gotta ask you, right? You know, you have a lot of experience playing in competitive. You've played against a lot of the players on that stage. Who are you looking at thinking, this is the best player in the tournament right now, these are the teams to beat?
I mean, obviously we gotta look at Peterbot and Poyo. You know, they won back-to-back FNCSs. They're coming off into this event looking like the favorites to win. But, you know, there's 4 teams at their POI. Another team I wanna look at is Clix and Veno. But they're being surprise conned by some OCE team. So we gotta see how it plays out, but I'm excited.
Somerset, listen, an event of your own coming up, right? Big competition on the horizon. How are you feeling for that?
Stressed, happy, sad, I don't know, everything, mix of emotions, but, you know.
Awesome to get that insight, though, from a competitor's standpoint, because we got all those competitors out on the stage.
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at the venue so far, people packing in, do you yourself even, you know, remember back when you used to play a lot and get nervous about, you know, just how many fans are there waiting for you? Like, how does the nerves factor in when you're up there on that stage?
I mean, I feel like most of these pros on this stage are experienced, and I don't think the nerves are really affecting them. And for the new timers, like the one-time land qualifiers, like they're gonna feel it game 1 dropping in. Once they land on that map, they're gonna be good. The nerves are gone, they're locked in, they're ready to win.
And obviously you both are just awesome content creators. Any content going to be coming from you guys from the event? And if so,
bon les gars, je reviens, je vais me lever.
Or where they can check them out.
Somerset with an O, no you, but anywhere on any social.
There you go.
We'll be doing a meet and greet in the main lobby at 1:30 p.m. Central Time. I'll be IRL streaming it at twitch.tv/Blake.
Awesome stuff there, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. And for now, we got more coming your guys' way.
FNCS is the biggest tournament of the season.
100 players, 50 teams of 2, players all around the world. They all travel to one place to play on a stage in front of everyone.
One weekend, one map, last one standing wins the game, 12 games, and they crown the champion. That's how I'd explain it.
No other game's doing it like Fortnite. The esports here is crazy.
So the most consistent duo this year,
I mean, it's obvious.
Best duo in the world right now. I mean, placements speak for themselves.
they got second Major 1, first Major 2, first Major 3.
And they won like a lot of duo cash cups, so.
Well, the first season in general, they were dominating.
Now they're looking really strong.
I don't think anyone put them that crazy.
Like 100% the most dominating team of everyone.
I mean, there's no one else more consistent than us, I would say.
I'm not sure that it will surprise anyone, but I'm pretty sure that Kami and Saitsu will do good, as they always do on LANs.
They kind of just have everything scripted. They have the entire game scripted and how they're going to play it.
They're always just one step ahead of everybody.
I'll say Epic Whale Muzz impressed me with their performance. We just stopped playing with them last season to play with Venno, and I was really hoping he quals for Globalist, so them getting, I think, 7th, it was impressive for me.
And then another team which is like also pretty underrated still is Batman Boog and Rapid.
I think they're also kind of underrated.
I just think they match really well together, and like they know how to play the meta. They're good like fighters and all that.
Rapid's a super smart guy. They've been doing really well these last 2 seasons, and they've kind of proven to everyone they're like as good as the rest of us.
They're on a come up this year. They're doing good. I think they can sneak in a top 3 here if they play their best.
So one person that I've been watching to like that I would really love to incorporate some of their game into my own is Sera and Cammy as a duo. Actually, every single LAN they come to, they come from more prepared than anyone. They have more strats up their sleeve.
They just create new strategy and new metas on their own. Basically, everyone watches their games to see like what they're doing, and then they can learn from what they do to implement it into their own game.
I say probably Acorn and Cold. I think Acorn, he has a really good understanding of the play style that I try to play as well. I think we both kind of do the same thing.
I want to see how he thinks about some situations.
And then Cold, I mean, he's just a good fighter.
If I want to do good that's not us, probably be Kanata and Cooper. Good friends with them, and I think they have a really big shot.
I think Srizi and Yapko, because Srizi can play with his duo. Also last year he couldn't play on the LAN.
Mariuka Mirsesh, because it's my friends.
I hope Srizi does good as well. Like, he deserves it. I think he also deserves to play a good tournament too.
I want Clay to get a top 3 for the first time in his career.
I would want the Middle East teams to do good.
Yeah, for me it's probably Region with the Janus, Pixie, like all the Germans basically.
Honestly, all the OC boys, I hope they do good.
100%, all my friends, you know, Kanata, Paper, I've been helping them out on the side, just trying to see them do good. You know, when I thrive, all my boys to thrive too type thing, so this is how it be.
glory, change the story. Better watch out, better start to worry. Fight for glory, change the story. Future's all mine when I find the fury. Bouncing back, yeah, I'm bouncing back, yeah, I'm bouncing back. I keep coming back, I can't hold it back, yeah, I'm bouncing back. It's just a mission, I do them in my sleep, no commission. I like a side quest, love opposition, with surgical precision, they make losing their tradition. Yeah, they talk, but what they say to me, I'm chewing it all, it's hitting my jaw, the way that it hurts you to think. I'm building a wall, 90s tall between you and me. I'm out of space, you're out of peace. It's a different game when I'm out of your league. Say you want it all, if you want it all, make a move, don't stop and wonder. Gotta take it out, 'cause I want it all. Don't stumble, I'll keep bouncing back. Take your cap, take your step, take a step, 'cause I've been back. Oh, just like that, I beat you in, crank up back to back. Oh, just like that, I see a dub in my future stats. Oh, I know a place you can go. The doghouse outside my massive abode. It's lovely, it's cushy, and sometimes it's cold. Now sit and watch me get this gold. Oh, I want it all, I want it all. I'll bounce back. I just want it all, I just want it all. I'm gonna bounce, I'm gonna bounce back. Said you want it all, but you want it all. Said you want it all, I'll bounce back. Said you want it all, but you want it all. I can have it all if you knock me down. I'll go to the top.
Square dance on the floor, this is not a ball. I'm above it all. Start, I see my glow up where you supposed to go. Post it on the low, can't lose and find the go. Leave me in the zone, I take your mind and then I snatch your soul. Turn up the track, going deep, I'm in the zone. You know I'm about to go, harder than hard to go. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Burn up and see the glow, I'm gonna make it known. I get it, they love my whole aesthetic. Vegas don't listen, told you this ain't hypothetical. Answer the call, prove this once and for all. Can't reach me with an arrow, summer nights I never fall. No cattle, the goat don't wear a saddle. Go riders off my body, cut them off, they acting sloppy. Already, I consume the petty. The vision's 2020, but Leo, I
Je suis là les gars. Allô, 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 je suis là. Du coup, il n'y a toujours pas eu de game ni rien, je suppose. Bah, en attendant les gars, écoutez. Ta mère, salut. En attendant. Oh, il y a une mise à jour, allez quoi. Allez, mise à jour. I can't take you take you. Non, ça fait 1 heure, oh putain. Juste les gars, moi attendez, je fais un truc. De base je veux jouer à Clash Royale mais voilà quoi. Attendez les gars, je vous remets ça dans 5 minutes, hein, j'arrive. Allez, il y a Fall Guys qui sont installés. My motto told me someday I will I can't take you. Ouais, j'ai vu les gars, 734 abos, merci beaucoup. Les gars, on va acheter 10 likes, si on peut les passer, ça ferait vraiment plaisir, merci beaucoup. Allez les gars, n'hésitez pas à liker, enfin, n'hésitez pas à liker, à vous abonner, ça fait vraiment plaisir. I can't take you. Take you home. Sha la 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 la. Oh, Luxembourg. J'ai duré plus que prévu, c'est long. Ouais les gars, c'est méga long, c'est horrible. Juste vraiment, c'est horrible. On m'a envoyé au supermarché acheter des trucs. Ah ouais, t'as acheté quoi? Si jamais les gars, au soir il y aura un live short mais sur Fall Guys. Du coup là on s'amusera un peu, mais juste là je vais juste que 2 heures de live. Donc après j'irai manger. Et au soir il y aura un live normal mais Fall Guys quoi. On change un peu le jeu au lieu de faire toujours du Fortnite quoi. Ce soir, ouais, ce soir. Attendez les gars, je reviens dans 2 minutes. Oh, bah. Des chips, papier PQ, du savon, des bouteilles d'eau et je suis passé à la boulangerie pour 5 donuts. Oh putain. Non mais ça va être comme ça 2 heures. Ouais, mais là, il reste encore 39 minutes de live pour que je fasse 2 heures. Et après, comme ça, je lance direct à un autre live, mais Fall Guys. En vrai, 3 heures de live, ouais, c'est comme vous voulez, hein, les gars. Oh, aïe, aïe. C'est long, c'est long, c'est long. Ça fait combien de temps qu'ils sont en live eux? Ça fait plus de 2 heures. Merde. Attendez, je vois un truc. Non, 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 fuck, dog, fuck, oh. Les gars, vous avez rien vu. Du coup, les gars, vous avez rien vu. Il y a combien de temps que vous y attendez? Bah là, ça fait déjà plus de 80 minutes.
Je vais perdre.
Oh bah regarde, même Zfar il a été sur il est sur Fortnite là, Zfar. Oh aïe aïe. Putain, Zfar il a quasiment 10 000 spectateurs et moi j'en ai 3. Bâtard. En vrai je pense Zfar je le froisse hein. Je pense vraiment premier degré je le froisse hein.
Ah il a pas dosé hein. Il a mis combien d'HP? Il a dû spam le bouton.
Ah les gars. Putain y'a quand même 31 806 personnes qui regardent là. Attends je m'abonne. Abonnez-vous à cette chaîne les refs. Attends, j'ai envie de regarder un autre truc, voir en direct, ils ont combien de live? Ah ok. Ah ouais là c'est jour 1 mais là il y en a un autre à venir jour 2. Vas-y m'avertir. Plus populaire je parie que c'est pour... Ah putain. Et plus ancienne pour la Coupe du Monde. Ah non il y a 7 mois. Ok, me faire foutre. Oh, c'est long, frère. J'ai faim en plus. Bon les gars, ça fait un peu chier là. Ça devient long, très long. Oh merde! Chaque bord, 3 fidèles. Ah yo Cyrox, je sais pas si t'es encore là mon frérot. Putain les gars, mon chat était bugué. Je suis vraiment désolé. Putain, il y avait mon chat qui avait prise. Putain quoi. Oh nique sa mère à fou. Ah cool va. Ah. Il a arrêté YouTube Clément, ouais il a arrêté. Enfin il est en pause, on va dire ça comme ça. Quoi, quand et pourquoi? Ouais, c'était il y a longtemps hein, déjà. C'était il y a longtemps hein. I think I can't take you home. Take you home. Darkness dimmen Agnes guldig kåpa Flera faglar. Ah! Tu fais trop pitié, tu me saoules, vas-y par la maman. Si t'as pas compris, ça veut dire oublie-moi. Je peux te ban toi, bah non tu peux pas me ban, espèce handicapé va. Fou du cul. Fils de pute. Oh. I can't take you home. Merci les gars pour les 735 abonnés. I can't take you home. Vraiment jouer une comédie alors. Oh non. Ta mère en fait. Ouais hop. Casser les couilles. T'es raciste, là, Enzo, lis au chat. Oui, Oh là là, vous êtes chiant, hein. Oh. Axo, t'es vraiment qu'un bâtard. J'ai mis ce clic. Bah ouais, voilà. Voilà quand on fait le gogol. Trou du cul, va. Les gars, on a 10 likes. Merci beaucoup les refs. L'objectif a été atteint, 10 likes. Magnifique. En vrai, c'est hyper satisfaisant. Putain, mais t'es un psychopathe, Axou. Hein. C'est un vrai psychopathe, ce mec, je vous jure. Oh, c'est un putain de psychopathe, frère. Ouais, arrête, Axou, arrête. Tu ne peux pas. Oh là là, bande de rageux, bah... Ouais. Putain les gars, il y a des éclairs chez moi, c'est une dinguerie les refs. Allez, plus que 5 minutes. Je suis en train de parler à mon daron depuis la fenêtre, voir s'il a bientôt fini le barbecue. Et il y a des orages, il y a des éclairs qui sont en train de taper. Aïe. dépêcher. Hein. Regarde de pas te brûler les mains. Comment ça peut voir? Pas trop de merde, hein. Ouais, chez moi aussi, pas chez moi, tu es fou, putain. Bon, les gars, 3 minutes. À tout moment, il y a un éclair qui frappe ma baraque. Et pouf, ça explose. C'est-à-dire le PC et tout. Ouais, du coup, en vrai, les gars, plus vers. Ouais, ce soir, je vais live tard en vrai. Moi, chez moi, c'est la 3e guerre mondiale version parapluie. Pourquoi je suis fou? Ouais, bon les gars, je pense qu'on va arrêter le live là.